Hello and welcome to my NaNoWriMo 2021 week 4 vlog. Missy is joining me on the bed yet again to start another video as week 3 is currently uploading on the computer. Hopefully the cat will also be my cheerleader this weekend because if you have watched my last video, you know that I am a little bit behind, a few days behind in my writing, and I have a weekend coming up and I want to use the time to catch up, maybe even go ahead if that's possible. We can always hope, because after all, Thanksgiving is this week, American Thanksgiving, so I will be busy during that time and be with family, so alas. Nano gives me the justification to be a little less than positive about family time, right? Right. Anyway, most of my plans are relatively simple. Sit, write. That's my sort of plan. I will be leaving in the afternoon to write specifically at the DC Writing Salon, which is a group that's been really great for me for the last several months. And I will be writing my fantasy project and taking to heart something I also said at the end of my last video about rewarding myself with positive reinforcement about my writing. That's my new spiffy way to keep writing the words and not get stuck in, you know, the nano blues where I can't shut up my inner editor. So there we go. Okay, and with that, I guess I will stay off of the ramble and get to the productivity. So let's go. Okay, so returned from the salon, and here is my positive piece of news about my fantasy writing project. I started a new chapter, chapter 27, huzzah! And primarily at the moment I am centering on an interaction between my main character and an antagonistic character. I know the writing isn't perfect, I have to train myself to stop saying that, so anyway, the thing is I think his personality shows some promise. I think that it's coming off of the page and leading to an interesting dynamic. Maybe I should stop saying dynamic too, but there we go, there's my positive. Also, the salon has had these lemon poppy little muffins that you probably can't see from here for a while, so our organizer offered to let me take the rest of them home, so huzzah, here's a treat for my work. Rewarding myself at the end of the day by starting the new Wheel of Time adaptation, woohoo! I haven't actually read the books, but you know, a fantasy fan has to fantasy, right? Honestly, I think this seems a little too traditionally fantasy for my taste, but I think it's going to be fun to watch, you know, with the beautiful visuals and the acting and all, so looking forward to it for that. So I have a milkshake, and I have the muffins that I showed you from a distance yesterday. And meanwhile, on the screen, there is a local event virtually, and I'm thinking of doing it. You know, I miss, you know, the in-person local stuff that hopefully can happen next year. Hopefully COVID will be contained enough by then, but there is some, you know, virtual stuff I've mostly been ignoring, but, you know, they can be so, you know, motivational, you know, these sorts of events. I mean, maybe I'm talking myself into it. There's this one, and then there's a nano one that I want to watch later today. And I said in other videos that I don't always do the best writing when I watch these things, but they are so, you know, motivational in a camaraderie sort of way, and I think I am gung-ho a bit about my word count today, so I seem to be going strong, hoping to be going strong, so that's my plan. Figure I could try to meet with people virtually and get some inspirational stuff from this one and from the official Nano one.
And just want to like propose a discussion question. Let us know how y'all do it in the chat. How do you develop relationships in your novel? Any advice?
I have should I talk?
Yes, please.
I have a kind of an interesting perspective on that. I do actually a lot of character and relationship work before I even start writing. I have my journal for the book that I'm working on currently, but there are 6 main characters. I don't know why you can see this. But I graphed out the nature of every dyadic relationship between them, and describe how person A feels about person B, and how person B feels about person A, and then every possible combination. You're working with a group of people, it gives you a strong sense of like what those sort of internal dynamics are.
That's weird. I've always like imagined it. I don't think I've actually seen it drawn out.
I love the like shape. Like I always like when I picture, I think of the tree, but that's more like a map, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I was trying to fit 6 on one page, which is kind of hard.
Okay, I was wondering how many characters that was, because I was like, that looks like a lot.
Yeah, that was 6. So within that you have some dyads and triads, and then you have a 4, and then you have all the girls versus all the guys. So, and then I thought about, the dynamics of like, well, half of these people have like really healthy family relationships and the other half don't. Half of them, these are teenagers, half of them are sexually active, half of them are not. Some of them are religious, some of them are not. And then you think about those dynamics and how they affect the way they interact with each other.
Good morning. So I had a very productive weekend. Feeling good about that. Also feeling a little bit tired, but gotta get up and moving. We're back into the work week. It's a shorter week, but I'm working some longer hours on the first couple days because trying to get out a little early the day before Thanksgiving to make it to Baltimore. So yay! I don't know. I'm feeling a little cranky and whiny right now about having to go into work, but whatever. Get over itself. And after work, it's going to be a long day today because I hope to get to the salon and get back to my fantasy project. And you'll hear from me again with another positive. I finished River by Shira Naiman, and although I think the concept was fascinating, I was so much looking forward to going back into the history of Jewish generations. The author just did not pull it off. Like, her writing was like a bludgeon. It was completely telegraphing the story and the themes and everything that she wanted us to get out of this. I was probably way too nice to the writing in my page 112 tag, alas. But I liked the idea of it where this woman, Emily, when she was 14, goes on a tumble into the past, and she's like a highly assimilated Jewish girl, kind of looking for connection, which is where the river metaphor comes in and is used very bluntly in that way. So first she visits her mother growing up in Australia, then she visits her grandmother growing up in South Africa, and her great-grandmother growing up in Lithuania, so we get a lot of sort of migration of Jewish culture, and from there she goes back to sort of, I guess, the source, to an ancient ancestor from Babylon. And that part really interested me as well, because my own fantasy project is based off of, the setting is based a bit off of ancient Israel, so ancient Babylon is kind of close. So that part actually was kind of useful to me, some of the choices she made in that chapter, but otherwise, this novel really didn't come together as a novel. It was just a sort of mediocre piece of, I guess, bombast, where the characters were completely bombastic and the themes were just, bludgeoning over our heads. Just using the word like that, that's a bad way to use that word. But anyway, I guess that's my take. And having just returned from the salon, I'll say something positive about my own writing, even though mine is also, in the rough draft form right now. But I was struggling a bit through a scene between two characters, trying to, get them to have a bit of dialogue, a conversation that I was hoping, would lead to where I needed it to lead in the outline. And It didn't quite get there, but I did, you know, sketch out some ideas and like of things that I would hope maybe I could have them touch upon later. I basically did the nano thing of when I got stuck, I made myself a bunch of notes that future me will have to figure out in revisions. So you're welcome, me.
Like I mentioned earlier in the chat, we've got prompts. If you need prompts, they're kind of themed around the emotional arc that your character is probably taking. Cat. And I have adapted the prompts from Donald Mass's The Emotional Craft of Fiction. So the next prompt is, a character in this scene seeks forgiveness. What did they do, and could you add in details that make forgiveness even more difficult? And with that, it is go time. We're going to check in at the 35, and I will put all this prompt information in the chat and the ticker bar. Good luck!
I'm finishing up some packing because I'm going to spend Thanksgiving with my family in Baltimore and leave Missy behind, which I'm never thrilled about, but I think she can survive without me for a day or two, hopefully. And I've also just finished listening to Babylon's Ashes on my Libby from my library, the 6th book in the Expanse series by James S.A. Corey. I went ahead and I watched all 5 seasons that are currently out before starting to read the books at all, and then listened to them all on audiobook. Well, the first 6 now. This year, and this is the first time I've read or listened to one of the books before a season came out, although the 6th and final season is coming out in December. There's going to be a weird juxtaposition with the books because the books do go on, albeit after a 30-year jump, I think, with book 7, but the show is ending after season 6, and I feel like we all kind of understand where it's going to end and where it's going to leave some doors open, particularly with, you know, the supernatural plot is going to be a little more open-ended, and maybe they'll try to do something new with that, like in a mini-series or something, I don't know. But sort of the current flavor of human political plot is going to end this season, and now I know how it's going to end. It's a crazy thought. For the first time, I actually know what to expect for a season of The Expanse, more or less. Of course, there will be some changes because the books are a little different from the show. Overall, I really like this book. I do think there maybe were a few too many POVs that weren't needed, but I still love the themes and the characters, and think there's a very compelling story here. It's really one of my favorite science fiction stories that I'm reading, invested in watching right now. So yeah, just got to get all my thoughts together in a row and write a review of Babylon's Ashes, and also just get some other writing and such done, even as I have to partake in Thanksgiving festivities. So it's the day after Thanksgiving. Half of my family has moved on to their next location, and I'm with the other half at the Loch Raven Reservoir in Baltimore, feeding seagulls, we think. Having a good old time catching this imagery rather than writing. But I do plan to be getting to that very soon, and especially back to a non-holiday schedule ASAP. I will be returning to my home in Silver Spring near DC, either tonight or sometime tomorrow, and we will wrap this month right on up. But for now, a little nature and reflection.